Welcome back to another Waynos Fotos video, and this particular video is going to be specifically about the Blazar Remus 45mm T2 1.5 anamorphic lens. And what I'm going to do is a little bit of a deep dive into this lens. Now, I'm just going to state this up front. This one spends most of the time on my camera. I like this lens the most. Some people have a difference of opinion. I've noticed that. They prefer the 65mm. The 65mm tends to be a bit cleaner in the kit if you've got getting the A set or the A set kit. And this lens has a little bit more distortion associated with it, you can call that flaws or you can call that character. I call it character and I like it. And this is the whole reason why I bought these lenses. So if we look at this lens in particular, and first of all, let's just have a look at the edge distortion, because when you pan this lens, the edge distortion is quite severe, and also because it's wide angle, you're getting more of that barrel distortion in it. So just to show you the distortion there, if I put my hands up to my face like this and I move them outwards, and I'm not even tilting them or moving them, you can see they get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. So let's just bring my hands back and you can see the distortion that's in the edge of the lens. So that's something you need to be aware of when you're using this lens. If you're placing objects on the side, they can be distorted. Now, when you pan, you get this effect where the edges, because of the compression, it gives you like as if the speed moving across the edge of the frame is traveling at a different speed to the center of the frame, to the edge. And you can see that here. This shot was taken at Waynos, West Australia. It's a monastery, the only Catholic monk monastery in Australia. And this is the Moore River that flows right next to the little town site called Waynos. And as you can see the distortion very, very distinctly. Now, why I particularly want to use this footage I got from Waynos is because it shows the character of the lens significantly. First of all, you can see this in the panning. And I've also can show some of the flares that I've got here. Now, as I said in my last one, if you have like a very small light, you get a fine light, but if you have a wider light, you get a much more wider light. And in this particular shot here, you can see some bubbles. See, if we have that there, if you look at the shot, you can see that there is some bubbles starting to develop around the flare. And I'd probably say if you move this around a different way, you can get these bubbles to appear in some places of the lens. So that's a nice character that you can get with this lens. One of the other things that you can see in this clip is that there is a vertical blue flare. It looks blue. I don't know why it's blue. Something to do with the way the light is. So there's a vertical flare on the lens, and that may be something that's desired or not desired, or you may want to just be a bit careful when you're moving, pointing it into the sunlight, away from the sunlight, that you're going to get this flare, this vertical flare that comes. But I have noticed it. It becomes much, much more predominant when you put a diopter on the lens, and I've got a video on that, so go and check out my channel and you'll be able to see me. I did a review on that, and I tried different things with the light at the background, and how we can change the flares, and also I showed you how we had some artifacts associated with a blue dot that was near my face, and also a vertical line that was near my blue face. So check that out if you want to know more about the flares. So this lens can produce that. That could be a desire, or it could be a hindrance, depending on what your story is and what sort of shot you're trying to tell. Now, the other thing about this lens that can be a little bit off-putting is if you look at the top of the lens here and the bottom of the lens, it starts to get a little bit of a distortion as you move away from the center, even on the top and bottom, not just on the sides. And some people may not like that. So this lens has probably got a little bit more character, a little bit more distortion than the other lenses. But the reason why I really like this lens is because, yeah, it does have those characters, and I like the wider focal lengths. And I've also, ordered the 33 because I want something wider, because I even would like Blazar Remus to make one wider than 33, maybe around about 20 to 24. I like shooting on spherical lenses with a 60mm, and if they could get something close to that in comparison, I'd be really, really happy. Because wide lenses, I find they're very, very good for establishing shots, and also they're very, very good when you are moving, like on a gimbal, traveling from one spot to another. And generally, you can kind of stop them down and they stay pretty much in focus as well. So I like the use of the wide angle lens, and particularly why I like these anamorphic lenses and also the characters associated with those wide angle lenses that Blazar Remus are producing. So anyway, guys, that's the lens in a nutshell. It's not quite as clean as a 65, but as I said, I particularly like the focal length, the wider focal lengths. Here is the whole video from the New Nausea clip. It's only a minute long, so watch it, and it really shows off the characteristics that this lens can produce throughout that video. There is some drone shots. Obviously, they're not anamorphic, but the shots on the ground are all of this 45mm Blazar Remus lens. Well, anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it. Enjoy the video, and I hope that gives you a bit more information. If you're thinking of getting this 45mm or buying it separately, or buying the A kit instead of the B kit, then, and you like wider lenses, I can vouch for this one. I particularly like it. That's where I'm going to leave it, guys, and I'll catch you next vid.